Have you ever stopped to think about how a product becomes, well, more than just a product? How a car, just a thing made of steel and glass, can turn into a full-blown cultural icon, a symbol of freedom for a whole generation? Well, today, we're diving into the story of the one car that pulled it off better than any other, the Ford Mustang. Just take a look at this number, 418,812. That's how many Mustangs Ford sold in its very first year on the market. That's not just a big number, it was an all-time record. So, the big question is, how on earth did this happen? Was it just some kind of lucky fluke? A happy accident? Or was there a master plan behind it all? We're going to break down the strategy, the timing, and the cultural genius that turned this car into an absolute legend. Let's get right into it.
To really understand the Mustang's incredible success, we have to start with a colossal failure. It's the early 1960s. America is changing fast, but Ford is reeling. They had just lost a jaw-dropping $250 million on a car called the Edsel, and the pressure to get the next one right was, to put it mildly, immense.
You see, there was this perfect storm brewing in the country. The baby boomers, the biggest generation in American history, were all getting their driver's licenses. The nation was getting richer, more people were going to college, and suddenly you had millions of brand new car buyers hitting the market. Young people, working women, and families that suddenly needed a second car.
And here's the thing. This new market did not want the huge, practical, frankly boring sedans that their parents drove. They saw a car as part of their identity. They wanted something that felt personal, something that was fun and sporty, something that screamed freedom, not another trip to the grocery store. The stage was set. This was a market just waiting for the right car to come along.
And the one person who saw this opportunity with crystal clarity was a young, super ambitious Ford executive named Lee Iacocca. He was not one of the old-school car guys. He saw where things were going, and it was not the car Ford was planning to build.
So at the time, Ford was developing this small, practical, but really uninspired car called the Cardinal. Iacocca took one look at it and just knew it was totally wrong for the American market, so he made one of the gutsiest calls in business history. He convinced Henry Ford II to cancel the entire project, writing off a $35 million investment. He was basically betting his whole career that he could build something better.
But here's the thing. Iacocca wasn't just going on a hunch. He had a plan. He put together this secret team, kind of an off-the-books group he called the Fairlane Committee. And their mission was to use data and market research, which was a pretty radical idea back then, to design the perfect car from scratch, based entirely on what those young buyers said they wanted. So, what did all that research actually tell them? Well, it gave the committee a precise, almost scientific blueprint for a blockbuster hit. It really boiled down to 5 key ingredients. Every single one of these details was deliberate, pulled straight from that market research. It had to have 4 seats, not 2, so it had mass appeal. It needed to be lightweight, under 2,500 pounds, to make it feel nimble and fun to drive. The styling had to be dramatic, that iconic long hood and short trunk. And this was crucial. It had to be highly customizable, so every single buyer could feel like they were getting their car. And the magic number, the absolute killer detail, a price tag under $2,500. Even the name was perfect, Mustang. It just captured that spirit of the wild, untamed American West. And here's a fun little fact for you. That name was so powerful, so evocative of the whole American way of life, that a German company had actually launched a brand of jeans called Mustang way back in 1958, years before the car even existed. Okay, so they had the perfect car, the perfect name. Now it was time for the launch. And Iacocca's team cooked up a marketing campaign that was every bit as revolutionary as the car itself. This was an absolute masterclass in marketing. The night before the launch, Ford bought advertising time on all 3 major TV networks at the exact same time. 30 million homes saw it at once. The next morning, they unveiled the car at the huge New York World's Fair. And on that very same day, Iacocca and the Mustang landed on the covers of both Time and Newsweek. It was an inescapable cultural moment. You couldn't miss it.
And the result of all this? Absolute pandemonium. Ford's own internal goal was to sell 100,000 cars in the entire first year. They sold 22,000 on the very first day. By the end of the year, they hadn't just beaten their goal, they'd sold over 4 times what they ever thought possible.
The Mustang wasn't just a hit, it was a genuine phenomenon. It completely blindsided the competition and changed the entire car industry forever.
I mean, the impact was just staggering. It generated over $1 billion in profit for Ford in just its first 2 years. It single-handedly created an entirely new category of car, the pony car, which forced rivals like GM and Chrysler to scramble and create their own versions, like the Camaro and the Challenger. And most importantly, it became a cultural touchstone, a symbol of everything it meant to be young and free in the 1960s.
You know, years later, a commenter on Reddit just summed it up perfectly. It wasn't just one thing. It was the design, the price, the brilliant marketing, and that perfect alignment with a massive cultural shift. It was, simply, the right car at the right time.
Which really leaves us with one final question. In today's world, with a market that's so fragmented and competitive, could a phenomenon like the Mustang ever happen again, or was it just a once-in-a-generation perfect storm of vision, strategy, and timing that we may never see again? It's definitely something to think about.